Setting and discussing training goals is a critical step in building an employee training program. Oddly, this step is frequently overlooked, even though they enhance your organization's learning strategy, explain the value of training to workers, and keep your training programs on track. In this video, we will share about SMART training objective. It's possible that the most important step of the training and development cycle is setting and documenting training objectives, because the modern trainer is eager to get started on creating slides and scheduling sessions. Creating a training goal plan is frequently overlooked under the radar. If setting training objectives has been your afterthought, it's time to focus back on SMART training goals to ensure success for your training programs. That is what you should strive for. Modern trainers should be familiar with using the SMART approach because it can help you convey training objectives or goals in a manner that engages your trainees or staff members who are learners. What are the key training objectives? Training or learning objectives are indeed the desired outcomes you like your learners to achieve after they have completed training modules. A training objective specifies what knowledge is needed and what the learners will do with it. The training objective is a statement of what every trainer hopes to accomplish during the training session. This may be an outcome, or it may be a description of what the trainer plans to do in order to accomplish the learning objectives. For example, this session will create a positive learning climate that encourages participants to get involved and to ask questions. Effective training goals include achieve goals that are achievable, result-driven objectives, coursework and experience, regular evaluations for long-term success. When developing training objectives, bear in mind that they should emphasize precise and quantifiable targets. Decide what you want to accomplish via training before laying out your training goals. Aside from company-specific aims, staff training has many universal advantages, and these can cover retaining staff. Lack of professional growth chances sometimes results in modern trainers' job-hopping habits. The modern workers will go from job to job. In-house training and professional progressions are interwoven. Future readiness. Skilled learners are hopeful and ready for the challenges of the future workplace. Companies that want to stay competitive and incorporate the newest technology and work trends are prioritizing employee reskilling and upskilling. Better employee output. This training aim is clear, yet important enough to mention again. Training is designed to improve workers' productivity by reinforcing current skills and competencies. These skills vary from common computer activities to the newest sales methods. A higher standard. A company's personnel may make it. Even the best ideas will fail if poorly implemented. Your staff members are the ones who will ultimately determine the quality of your products, your service, and your ideas. Your staff training objectives must satisfy both corporate and workers' human demands. Your company's training should all work towards the same aim, which is to be productive at the workplace. Trying to meet everyone's training needs while still supporting organizational ambitions may be difficult. Create your company's training goals using the SMART approach. After deciding on the training goals, the SMART framework guides the modern trainer in effective training. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timed frame. However, there are a few versions. Here, we will do an acronym for SMART model that combines fundamental ideas for every modern trainer when designing training programs. Using the SMART framework will help you avoid overlooking critical training topics. It's difficult to evaluate the efficiency of training that is overly broad or theoretical. There are some suggestions for incorporating SMART into your program, with examples of how to use SMART training objectives. Looking at specific, determine the training's most urgent objectives and outcomes. Starting with specific guarantees that you have specified the intended objective. What do you want to accomplish with staff training? This depends on several aspects. Begin with your workers' role and duties. What duties do workers have? If they are new employees, you will need to train them for their principal task. If they are current workers who are more experienced, you wish to improve their skills. Look beyond the job description to discover where additional specialized training is needed. For example, consider industry and legal criteria to guarantee your staff and business in following to licensing and regulatory norms. The other training is required in areas like healthcare and finance. More so, medical practices must yearly undertake safety and health training. While training recording is required, best practices may choose how to do it. Even with mandated training, you generally have some flexibility in terms of implementation and delivery. Measurable, assure quantifiable outcomes. Effective training produces outcomes. How can you verify staff are genuinely learning? The easiest option is to measure learning transfer by giving exams and assessments. You know what to measure if certifications or examinations are required. Creating evaluations may help you quantify outcomes even if there are no formal criteria. Role-playing and tasks are another technique to evaluate training. While not always measurable, role-playing allows supervisors to monitor a trainee's development. Peer-to-peer teaching, where one learner teaches another, may also create mastery. It's critical in every training setting to track progress and identify areas where workers need further training. Delivering exams, compliance training, and certifications online is easy with sophisticated learning management systems. Achievable or attainable or agreed upon. Reachable while motivates to achieve more. Each of the SMART acronym A has its own unique meaning. Achievable goals are significant. Keeping in mind helps you avoid excessively ambitious training plans. While it's wonderful to have high expectations for your staff members, setting goals that are out of reach for a big number of them might backfire. It demoralizes people who can't meet them. Importantly, excessive instruction reduces the efficacy of even the basic. What is achievable for one level may not be attainable for another. It is also critical to establish training objectives. Discussing and re-evaluating training with peers helps you to establish a consensus that is likely to evolve over time as a standard. The more input you get from executives, the more likely your training will represent the company's immediate requirements. Realistic, relevant. Make sure training objectives are realistic. Good training is realistic based on past performance and intended future results. the worker's present skills and the program's breadth help determine how visible training objectives are. For example, expecting non-technical staff like salespeople to grasp a complex software program in 2 hours is certainly unrealistic. However, cramming in too much at once might dilute the impact of training as well. Impactful training also prepares workers for real-world activities and responsibilities. That's why simulation and role-play works. For example, one of the greatest methods to train personnel who give technical assistance to clients is to replicate the conversations. Use role-playing and peer-to-peer training to make training more realistic. Time frame, time bound. Time frame for accomplishing the objective. Time is important in any training. Ensure training content is relevant to your time frame and desired goals. Setting realistic deadlines helps workers assimilate knowledge. If workers are training on the job, you must assess how much time they can realistically devote to studying, attending workshops, or watching videos. Choosing what to include in each training program requires balancing. On one hand, it's apparent to include as much as feasible. The more your staff know and can do, the better. However, less can be more. Think about helping staff get practical and thorough training within a possible time frame. Continuously assess your training's efficacies and opportunities for improvement. Depending on the findings, you may need to modify or add modules. Putting SMART method together would apply to business goal or customer service training objectives, such as an example. By the end of quarter 2, the company must raise sales by 5%, enhance customer relations, and implement new industry safety rules. Customer support personnel will get at least 1 hour of weekly training to boost customer satisfaction survey. To be specific, customer care agents will take part. Measurable, increase client positive feedback on clients' engagement survey. Achievable, a minimum 1 hour of weekly training. Relevance, improve customer relationship, which is a business goal. And finally, time bound, by the conclusions of quarter 2, which is another business goal. The SMART training objectives, that is customer care against the SMART training objectives, specific customer care agents will take part in Measurable to increase client positive feedback on client engagement survey that is achievable with a minimum 1 hour of weekly training to improve customer relationships, which is a business goal. And finally, time by conclusion of quarter 2, which is a business goal. In conclusion, to develop a good training objective, just express your purpose, outline achievable targets, and verify these goals match with bigger company aims. Writing your company's training goals feels daunting. Still, a modern trainer knows that writing a learning objective is no longer a hassle if you follow the preceding steps and use helpful models like the SMART model.